Let's get back to how these woke athletes are trying to pick and choose their sponsors. Players for the national netball team, the Diamonds, have effectively sabotaged their own sport, objecting to a $15 million sponsorship from Hancock Prospecting, who advertise on this station. Not wanting to be left out, cricketer Pat Cummins has joined the fray, having a whinge about sponsor Alinta Energy. Cricket Australia is going to end its multi-million-dollar partnership with the energy provider next year, and Cummins won't appear in any other promotions for the Chinese-owned company. The fast bowler has denied reports he influenced the decision. A little earlier, I caught up with no-nonsense footy legend Sam Newman and started off by asking him whether he thinks it's right that players should get a veto over who sponsors their team.
Just let me say from the start that I would not wear a certain sports jersey if I didn't agree with what was on the front of it. But it's just a case of judging everything on its merits, because the price of being virtuous is hypocrisy. And for the netballers to arc up at not taking sponsorship dollars from Gina Reinhart, who is guilt by association from a father who I think made those comments, whatever they were, 40 years ago, seems ludicrous. So we have genuinely people with low IQs telling a sporting body which is on its knees financially that they won't accept money from or sponsorship deals from a company which I'm sure that those people who are complaining used one of those products indirectly or directly that Hancock Mining or Hancock Industries have fabricated, or whatever they use. I'm sure they use one of their products on a daily basis. So it's just fraught with danger, all this nonsense.
Yeah, well, it's pretty hard to get through life without making anything or using anything that's made of steel, and that's essentially what Hancock Prospecting produces. But we've seen this go into a lot of climate activism. Pat Cummins and the cricket side are tied up in this as well. And look, talk about IQs. There'll be people with high IQs, low IQs, medium IQs in sporting teams. But it is inane, isn't it, given they all fly around the country, fly around the world. They play their sport under arcs of light. I mean, they simply couldn't function in this sporting world without fossil fuels.
And of course, that is the point. I think Alinta was the one that Cummins was worried about. I mean, if you think fossil fuels are going to disappear in the very near future, you're mistaken, because that's the end of the civilised world as we know it, no matter what you think of the climate, no matter what you think of global warming. And I noticed one of the netball people said that they weren't happy with Hancock Industries because of their climate record. I mean, seriously, the world we live in is being run by patronising and pompous, arrogant people who have no idea really what they're on about, and make the rest of the people who enjoy life as it is, although we all try to be responsible, make it a nightmare.
Yeah, back to your original point, of course, if you feel so strongly about either a company, a brand, some sort of logo that's on your Guernsey or your sports uniform, of course you've got the right not to wear it, but the way you exercise that is don't play, isn't it? You can't dictate what your organisation does or what your team does. If you don't want to wear it, show the courage of your conviction and don't play.
No, that's fair enough, but that is fair enough, but you've just got to judge it on its merits. See, I wouldn't wear if I wouldn't wear a political slogan on my jumper if I didn't agree with it. But the passive, benign company logo of something that produces iron ore or mightn't or produces energy that you mightn't agree with. I mean, it's just such a simplistic thing, and of course the duty of care of the people who are running the competition maybe should say to the rank and file before they sign them up, we're going to have Alinta Energy or Hancock Mining sponsor us. If you've got any problems with it, and if they have, you could actually sort it out before you did the deal. I mean, if I was Gina Reinhart, I would take the $15 million and say stick it.
Yeah, they're lucky some of these sponsors have got the patience to tough this stuff out. The trouble is a lot of people love their sport, whether it's netball, cricket, basketball, footy, because it's an escape from all the daily argy-bargy over politics. But when you do this, you invite other people to use sport in political games. And now we've got some prominent supporters of the Fremantle Dockers, Tim Winton, the author, and I think Carmen Lawrence, the former Premier. They're trying to say that the Dockers should ditch Woodside Petroleum. Now, that's just causing more financial angst for the club that they supposedly love.
Well, if I could just go a step further, the feigned indignation of the AFL, who insist on telling us to be the moral arbiters of what we believe in. Now, I've said this before, and at the AFL Grand Final, we had 3 references to Indigenous Australians. One of them is absolutely appropriate and no one could agree with it more. But they had 3 separate references, as if we don't have to, lest we have to be told that we respect everything that's going on in the country. They made a Muslim woman the face of the AFWL, and then when she decided or declined from wearing the gay pride jumper, if you get into the political realm in a sporting organisation, you end up creating a hornet's nest for the people who want nothing more than go to the football, to the sporting event, just to watch it for what it is. But they keep forcing this moral sort of code onto us to perhaps appease their own social prejudices. And it turns into, as I say, it turns into just a ridiculous, woke society of nonsense.
It's got to stop somewhere, Sam, and I'm certain you speak for so many sports fans. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, agree or disagree, there's just too much of this stuff. Sport's got to be about sport primarily, and we're getting so many complications on so many issues from players and spectators and organisations trying to virtue signal through sport. Play the game's not a bad motto sometimes.